There's been a slew of recent studies that point to some of the difficulties that women face in the workplace. So, a new study from Oregon State University found that young women who post sexy pics of themselves on social media are more likely to be seen by their peers as less competent. So if you have sex appeal and you flaunt it a little bit and you post certain kinds of pictures online, we're not talking about way over the top pictures here, but whatever, you're in a bikini on the beach or what have you, and you look very sexually appealing, guys would not knock you down, knock you down a couple notches and go, come on, like you're exposing a little too much, not professional, and you're probably less competent. But when they do the opposite and they refrain from posting those kinds of images, they lose out on what's called social rewards. So they lose out on building relationships, they say, with boys and men, and that eventually could lead to advancement in your career. So it's a giant catch-22. If you do use your sex appeal and possibly post pictures on social media in that way, you're viewed as less competent. If you don't do that, well, then you're viewed as, prude, iron box feminist, doesn't ever want to have any fun. Now, there was another study from the University of Michigan that found a similar theme. They found that young girls who explore their sexuality are considered slutty by males, but if they don't explore their sexuality, they're called prudes. So again, whether we're dealing with young girls like in college or whether we're dealing with women in the workplace, there's this massive no-win situation that they're faced with, where no matter what they do, there's judgment happening. Now, this is something that there's no counter to this. Maybe a while back there would have been some sort of stigma on men that were bachelors. Like, for example, I'm single and I plan on being single forever. But it used to be maybe in the 50s, they go, he's gay. Or, he's, what a weirdo. What's wrong with him? What does he have, fucking heads hanging in his basement or some shit? But now, today, people realize, actually, no, it's just a choice like any other choice. You don't want to get married. You don't want to wake up to the same fucking person, stinky-ass breath, farting in the morning. Like, no, I don't want, fuck you. I like privacy. I like being by myself. Call me crazy. So there's no stigma in that respect for men. There's no stigma on, a man's sexual appetite. You could talk about it with your buddies, your coworkers openly. And like, you gave her a stabbing, huh? Huh? And if you don't talk about it, it's still viewed as fine. Oh, yeah, Steve just doesn't like to talk about that stuff. But for women, right, if they use sex appeal, slut. If they don't, prude. So no matter what, there's judgment going on. And look, the whole purpose of this conversation is not to bring up, a legal aspect to it or policy aspect to it. It's more to shed light on these pervasive ideologies that exist in society that we might not even be aware of, And I talk about, there's a similar thing that goes on with black males. And this one also pisses me off to no end because, you see, again, it's a lose-lose situation. So if a black male ends up, working hard and doing well and making it and making a lot of money and being successful, what do a lot of white people in society say? Affirmative action, typical. He didn't earn it. It was given him because he's black. But then if a black male decides not to do that and they said, you know what, fuck it, the system is geared against me anyway, I'm done here, I'm just going to call it a day and go sit on my couch, right? Then what do they say? Typical. Lazy. Thug. So it's a lose-lose. If you work hard, you're demeaned, and you're viewed through a certain lens, and you're judged. If you don't, you're demeaned, and you're looked through a certain lens, and you're judged. For women, same thing. It's either sluts or prudes. For white males, look, the reality is that's not the case, man. I know I am one. If I go out wearing a jacket like this, I get treated like a fucking king. People, because you don't know. Somebody could look at me. I mean, they might not think I'm a CEO or something, but they go, I might have some position of power. I don't know. The other day I went out. I used to work at a car dealership, and one of my customers got me I guess he worked for the NYPD in one way or another, and he gave me a shirt that said, like, forensics department or something. He was like a forensic science guy who worked with the NYPD. So I wore it out the other day, and everybody thought I was a cop because I was wearing this shirt that it had an NYPD logo. It didn't necessarily look like I was in the department. It looked like I might have known somebody who was in the department. But again, in that case, you get treated like a fucking king. If I wear a jacket, I get treated like a king. If I wear that, I get treated like a king. I mean, maybe if I throw on a bandana and a fitted, which I used to, but then maybe then I'll be looked at like, I don't know, his skin seems kind of dark. Maybe he's from Argentina or something like that. Pull him over. But most of the time, white males, we get a pass in the mindset of society and through the collective opinions of people. So all we're calling for here is, and all progressives want, we just want understanding and respect and acknowledgement of the situation. Women aren't, unreasonable. Minority groups aren't unreasonable. They don't want anything other than for people who have benefited from society as it's structured the way it is now. So namely white males, right? They just want them to fucking acknowledge it, man. And to not bitch and moan like we're the ones who've had a boot on our neck the entire time. Because we haven't been the ones with a boot on our neck the entire time. And it's not, I know the idiots on the right, white guilt. Male feminist. It's got nothing to do with labeling yourself as one thing or another thing. It has to do with acknowledging reality and not being a douche.